Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson, and joined with me, as always, is my man with the master plan, Mr. Chance Michaels. Chance, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. How you doing?
Yeah, I can't complain. It's supposed to be almost summer, but it still feels like early spring. I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's cold, but it's kind of cold. I don't get it. I'm one day wearing shorts, the next day I have to put the pants back on.
yeah, we had a pretty good long weekend, though the weather was pretty nice for that.
No, weather was great for the long weekend. Speaking of the long weekend, we had a couple cool shows that we attended. The
Yes.
AllStar Wrestling one, we saw a couple title changes there. The cruiserweight title changed hands, and the women's championship also changed hands. I was kind of shocked by that one. Actually, I didn't really see Calamity Kate winning.
Yeah, I was a little bit of an upset, which is good. Something different, keep you off balance, right?
No, 100%. And that crowd was live, man. I got to
Yeah, that
tell
was
you,
awesome.
it was a fun crowd. Thunder from Jalandhar, he put on a show. That was really fun. The 2-on-1 handicap match, falls count anywhere. Or no, last man standing match.
That's not
Sorry.
done.
Um, kind of unique how he won that match. He tied both their ankles together with a little uh assistance from Disco Fury.
Yep,
Or
that's right.
yeah,
Yep.
Disco Fury. So, yeah, it was good. All in all, a really good show, well paced. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I think the crowd really made that show happen.
It did. It
And
was a
then
cool
on,
venue too. I like that venue. It was nice and roomy in there.
yeah, no, it's great. It's accessible. It's easy. I probably say the only downside is if you're not there early enough, parking can be a bit of a hassle. But I mean, if that's the only thing that I got to nitpick on, that's about it. But otherwise, you know what? We took the kids. Both the kids seemed to have a blast. Your little guy over there, Flying Reigns, did he have any voice left?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he went for round two the next night, but we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, that All Star show was good, man. It was solid. Crowd is hot.
Yeah, I know. Little Miss loved it. She enjoyed herself a lot. She's really taking to it now. It's really fun to watch her kind of watch it now, So it's kind of fun. But then Sunday, good friend of the show, Scotty Max promotion, Loft Country Wrestling. They had their first show of the year out in Aldergrove, and unfortunately, I could not attend due to some family obligations that I couldn't get away from. But you attended on our behalf. How was that place? How was the show?
It's a cool venue, man. People haven't been there, they should go check it out. It's inside a barn, but it's not like a barn that you think. They got a rock climbing wall for the kids. They got a cool stage. They have weddings there. So this is a really, really, I guess, high end barn. I guess you could say.
From
But
the
it's
outside, did it just look like a barn?
no, it looks. You could tell it's a nice,
Oh,
nice, well done building. Yeah,
okay, okay,
it
okay,
was a good
okay.
show. I mean, it was a really good show. The crowd wasn't as hot as it was at All Star, but a different crowd. A lot more kids there. A lot
Hmm.
more family oriented, I guess. Although All
Hmm.
Star is a family wrestling show, this
Hmm.
was a little more tame, but it's good action. Good action. Some of the same guys from All Star were on the LCW show. Kasaki was there. The built guy with the beard, what's his name again?
Odin Rex.
Yep, he was there. So and we got to see Scotty. I haven't seen him wrestle in a while. That was a good match, main event, tag match. The owner of the Loft Country, he wrestles with his kid. He's got to be almost 60. What a
Yeah,
tough
Scotty
old
was.
guy, man. Well, he
Yeah,
had some
no,
good moves.
yeah,
Like
no,
he's
Scotty.
not leaning on his feet, but he's picking up guys, slamming guys. Did a couple cool moves. I was impressed with him.
Yeah, Scotty was mentioning that he was training the father and son, so that must have been them, right?
In
Okay,
the main
cool,
event,
cool,
yeah, that's right. And this kid,
cool.
I don't know how old this kid is. He looks like 18, 19, and he had a
Yeah.
couple high spots, jump up the ladder through the table. Sky's done a good job training him because this guy probably started training in his mid 50s when he started training. And he looks pretty
Okay,
good. Yeah,
okay,
he's
okay.
a young guy.
Awesome, man. So yeah, no, that was
Farmer
pretty
strength,
much.
that's real. Farmer strength is real.
Yeah, I know, 100%, man. It has to be. It has to count for something. Look at Brock Lesnar,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah,
A
so
lot of those guys who grew up in farms, they're tough as nails, man.
absolutely. So it was
I,
a good
I
weekend of wrestling.
Yeah, so we had a couple good local shows here this weekend. We were able to get to both of them. If not together, we made both shows, I like to say.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next offerings from both these companies coming up. And
Speaking of that, I heard that All Stars taking the summer off.
oh, really?
I don't know if that's an official word yet, but that's what I was hearing from some of the people that I know that work with that promotion that taking the summer off. They might not be back till September. Don't know if
Uh,
that's true or not.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. What are the summer months like? Do they have attendance drops? Is it even worth running shows considering that people might be out of town? I don't know. It's interesting, but that kind of opens the door to the other promotions locally as well now to kind of shine. NEW's got a show coming up this weekend in Poco.
Yeah.
That's the Rob Fay, former Team 1040, TSN 1040 personality, and
Vancouver Canadians, former
Vancouver
broadcast.
Canadians and Blue Jays broadcaster. He's running that promotion now. They do shows out of Vancouver, and this Saturday they're doing a show out of the Terry Fox theater
Plaza.
in in Coquitlam.
Oh, they're going to Quillam. Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah, no, I haven't been there, so I'm gonna come. I'm gonna make sure we're at that show. I'm kind of torn because that's the same time as Rolly and Tank.
I know.
Um, but
So
we'll talk about that.
NEW is this Saturday?
Yeah, it's gonna be this Saturday. But yeah, we're gonna make our way out there that way. At least one of us will be out there for sure.
I'll probably be
Um,
there too.
awesome. Yeah, it'd be great. So
And I
go
guess we
check
got to
that out.
stream the boxing fight on our phone, I guess.
Well, we'll figure something out, man. This is an interesting. We'll talk about boxing later. Today we're talking about wrestling. I know.
I'm saying if we're not going to boxing, it sucks because if you don't watch it while you're watching wrestling, you're going to hear the spoilers, alert on your phone. Somebody's going to mention. It's hard to keep the fight a secret. Go home to watch it.
I did it this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, I managed it perfectly. Even though it was a 3-round fight, I had no idea who won. I turned off all my alerts. I've actually gotten pretty good at it now, by where I just basically turn off all my notifications from my boxing publications or my sports update publications. I just turned them off completely.
Okay.
And then what I also do, so tip to the listeners, I just ignore my phone.
Smart.
So like, if I look at my phone, it'll automatically open up if there's an alert. So what I do now is I'll just open it in my pocket sort of a deal so I don't see any of the alerts or anything. So that's the other way of doing it.
Yeah, well, that's true. It can be done,
Right.
but it's tough.
It's tough, but I mean, it has to be done. I mean, if for what we have to accomplish and what we're trying to get out there, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It's not bad at all. But no, you know what? We got to go to these shows. This is really important as well, and it just works out that way. And you can't complain. Our life isn't that bad when you have to consider shit. I have to go home and watch boxing now.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. No complaints. We got it pretty good.
I have zero complaints, man, about what we get to do. This is a blessing.
Absolutely. Well
we're
said.
we're so fucking lucky, man. Hands down. Think about it, bro.
I 100% agree with you.
Right? I mean, watch wrestling and boxing and then talk about it.
Doesn't get much better than that for me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, outside of being actually participating in a fight or participating with a promotion, I can't, what can we complain about, Chance?
Nothing, man.
What do we have to complain about?
We're alive. We're healthy. We're doing what we love. I mean,
like our wives, but that's about it. No, I'm just joking. Just joking. Just joking.
It doesn't get much better than this.
No, and you know what? If they're listening, if the wives actually listen to this, then I'll know because I'll hear something about that comment.
They don't listen.
So then we should be okay.
They just click like.
You know what? That being said, if it's okay to speak on their behalf, I got to say we have probably the two most supportive women in the world when it comes to doing this.
Yes.
Hands down. I mean, the fact of the matter is with a lot of the stuff that's happened recently within our families and whatnot, to allow us to kind of carry on with this and to do this is absolutely amazing. So big shout out to the ladies in our lives for their unconditional support and understanding through all of this.
Absolutely.
That's the truth of it. But hey, let's talk some wrestling, man. Raw. Well, let's just kind of talk about it really quick. So the show opens with the tag team package, unification package from SmackDown this past Friday, where the Usos are now the unified tag team champions of the world, which means between Roman and his cousins, they technically own majority of the hardware now, outside of the two Intercontinental and US titles, which I think would be kind of fun if Usos took one of those each too, eh?
They might, dude. The Bloodline's running the show, it seems. They got all the belts, most of the straps. I mean, who's gonna take it from Reigns?
Well, Interesting you said that. So the next two programs that they're looking at for Roman right now is because of that attack that he did on SmackDown at the end of the match, beating up Riddle and Randy Orton the way he did. Word has it that Riddle will probably be his first um, challenge coming at Money in the Bank. So maybe not Hell in the Cell. I don't think anything's going to happen there for
No,
Roman. I don't think Roman's going to even be on the card on that one, to be honest.
doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it. So they're setting it up where they're going to have Riddle versus Orton at Money in the Bank. And something's going to happen there where Randy then will challenge him at SummerSlam for the title. Challenge Roman for SummerSlam. So
That'd
those
be
look like
program, by the way. That'd be
well, yeah, but they're saving. It's supposed to be Drew, right? But they're saving Drew now for that September show in Cardiff in Wales,
smart.
right? But that could change if Tyson Fury decides that he wants to be on the card.
That'd be sweet, man.
So if Fury comes on, he's going to want to fight Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, he's been talking a little smack about him.
Yeah, right. And who did he fight in Abu Dhabi?
Who, Fury?
Yeah.
I can't remember now, to be honest with you, dude.
Oh, Braun Strowman.
Yeah, Strowman. Yeah, that's right.
He fought Strowman. That's right. So, so it looks like unless Fury decides that he wants to be on the card, those look like the next three guys in line for him.
You think Orton will actually beat Reigns at SummerSlam?
No, I don't think anyone's going to take the title off of him right now. I think it's gonna. I think they're building him so strong. I don't know who can do it. I mean, if you look at it right now, Randy Orton would be one guy that could potentially take it off of him, right? Yeah. You look at the guys that potentially could beat him. I would have to say your next world champion would have to either be Drew McIntyre because he's beaten Brock.
Yeah.
Randy Orton, for sure. I would say AJ. Definitely.
Yeah, maybe. What about Bobby?
Bobby Lashley? Well, that's another story there. Now he's all tied up with Omos and everything. So maybe down the road, right? I mean,
yeah,
bring him back again and see what's going on with him. But I mean, if you think about the 5-6 guys, those would be all of them. And Edge. They're the only guys that could believably beat him.
Yeah. Do you think
in some capacity?
You think Lesnar will be at SummerSlam?
I don't know. Maybe Brock's off for the year. I haven't heard from him anywhere. He hasn't made any posts. I haven't seen anything on him on social media. He hasn't made the newswire in any form or sense. So
gotta show up one night and just run out there and start kicking some butt.
Well, that's about it. I mean, really, what can you do with him right now? Like, I mean, Brock is slightly humanized now, with that whole feud that he went through, right? I mean,
yeah.
But I think Brock, in the true sense of modern day wrestling, he is what Andre was. He's an attraction.
Yep.
Right?
Larger than life character.
Exactly. So, I mean, having him on the show every week, and I get it. It makes sense not to have him on the show. But that being said, I think the only thing that I was never really a fan of was making him champion that way. I feel that the title needs to be on the show, especially considering how hard of a time they have doing anything without a champion.
For promos and stuff, not wrestling.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, I get it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this kind of goes. But right now, I just don't see anyone taking that belt off of him. Who?
I think they're building up for Rock, and I'm not saying Rock will do it, but they're building up for Rock and Reigns next year at Mania in LA there.
Well, his schedule's free. He's got nothing filming at that time. So, I mean, all indications.
Let's be honest, though. I mean, Rock's a great entertainer. He's one of the best mic men, but the last time Rock wrestled, he didn't look very good against, what's he going to be like now? He's even older, even heavier.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out, right? I mean, he's got enough time to prepare for it. And, it's kind of teasing it. Have you ever watched Young Rock?
No, how you said that. I got to check it out. What's it on?
It's so funny. It's on NBC. Right? It comes on NBC.
I've seen clips of it, but yeah, I haven't actually watched it. But
it's actually really, really cool. I mean, I don't know how much of it is blown out of proportion or how much of it is actually legit in terms of the characters and whatnot. But, seeing Macho Man on there and seeing Andre on there, and Andre plays a big role in this. I didn't, like I don't know if they're accentuating it or making it bigger than it was, but it really feels that Andre played a big role in Dwayne Johnson's life, like a lot of these guys did when he was living in Hawaii.
How lucky
Why?
is he? How
Well,
lucky was
think
it to have
about it. Like,
dad as a wrestler with all these Macho Man and Hogan and Andre around? Like that's
well,
crazy.
you watch the show and like okay. So the way the show's set up is it's Dwayne Johnson in 2032 or something like that, and he's actually on the campaign trail to become U.S. president.
Oh, okay.
So basically, um, I think he's Korean Park, that actor.
Okay.
He was on. Did you watch Ant-Man?
No, I've never seen that. I don't do the
Okay,
superhero thing really.
okay, fair enough. Anyways, he's been around. If you see him, you'll know who he is.
Okay.
He's on that show, Fresh Off the Boat, the Asian family that lives in Atlanta or something.
Never seen it.
Okay, anyways, sorry guys, I'm just trying to give Chance
Yeah,
here an
yeah.
image. But anyways, he's on it and he's kind of interviewing him every episode. And the way the show breaks down is there's three stages of rock. There's, I don't know, preteen rock,
Okay.
teenager rock, and Miami, Hurricanes rock.
Okay.
Right. So you got the three stages. So when he's at his youngest, that's when they were living in Hawaii. And they were running all these shows out of Hawaii. And these were monster shows, dude. Like from
Good.
Aloha Stadium, his grandmother, who was the promoter for that region, um, they were filling Aloha Stadium, which has capacity of 50 to 60,000 people for these shows.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Polynesian Pro Wrestling. I actually went and YouTubed it and watched some of it. It's legit, man. Like this shit's like for real.
Who
Like
was
there's
on
no
the well-known name?
everyone. Like, dude, they basically ran WrestleMania 1 in a lot of ways before WrestleMania 1 was ran. And it was in front of a bigger crowd. Andre versus John Studd. Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov were on the card.
Oh wow.
Like so all these guys were there. So Macho Man was there. Elizabeth was there.
Oh wow.
So it kind of shows you how far back these characters actually go before Vince had them. And it's a really cool dynamic how the show works is you just see The Rock with all these bigger than life characters that we just grew up with in our living room on our TV screens, but he
Yeah.
actually had them in his living room,
It's pretty lucky,
right?
man.
So there's episodes where Andre will I will take him fishing and talk to the boy and sort of a deal. So you have all these really cool moments where they show, things that I've never heard about or stories that you've never heard of.
Cool.
So it's really cool. And it goes through all the different stages. So he's in Hawaii, and then when he's a teenager, he's in Memphis. And there you see the relationship with Jerry Lawler, Bam Bam Bigelow, all these other characters that were there. And he spent, who was one of the biggest influence in his life, it seems, Harvey Whippleman,
Oh,
downtown
really?
Bruno. No shit. He lived with him as a kid. So when he moved from Hawaii to Memphis, him and his dad flew out there, and his mom was going to drive from Hawaii with the car. But his old man never, like Rocky Johnson, never got an apartment or anything because he was too busy wrestling on the road and for Memphis wrestling and whatnot. So he ended up living with Harvey Whippleman in his hotel.
Wow.
So I mean, the stories are just insane, and it's done really well. I'll be honest, I wasn't too sure what to expect and whatnot, but I'll be honest, it's fun. It's a really fun show. Guy, I recommend it, bro. I really
Yeah, I'll check it
recommend it. It's really fun. Um, 80s wrestling personified, the nostalgia. It fills in some gaps that you think about from time to time when you're watching something. You know what I mean? It's just
out.
it's just crazy to think about. Pat Patterson's on the show. Vince McMahon is on the show. Like
Nice.
the characters and
Yeah.
whatnot. But you just get to see a lot of things that you didn't know about. Like Rocky Johnson screwed himself out of WrestleMania.
Why? What do you do?
He went against his contract with Vince to go fight for a show in Saudi Arabia.
But he's kicking himself for that one.
Well, he's dead now, but yeah, he
Yeah,
probably
I
was
would
for the
imagine.
longest time, right? I mean, he missed out. He really missed out. And it's kind of an interesting show because you get to see these dynamics that you don't know of,
Yeah.
right? So it's really fun to watch, and it kind of covers everything. And it's kind of cool because one of the last episodes that I saw show where The Rock says, I want to wrestle.
Oh, nice. When he's a
And then,
teenager?
no, this is when he was with the Miami, the University of
Hurricanes.
Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
So, when all that fell apart and the CFL didn't work out for him, which they show him going to Calgary and doing all these things and whatnot. And, he ends up training. Pat Patterson comes out and, it shows him all these different level stuff, right? The first time he was in the locker room and he met Stone Cold and Mick Foley and, the Undertaker came in the room. So it was really cool. That's all, like I can't stress enough. I think it's a really fun show. There's not enough wrestling shows out there for us outside of what we see, but these kind of shows are kind
Speaking
of
of
cool.
wrestling shows, what's up with this Miz reality show? Have you ever watched it? I heard good things about it.
Ms. and Mrs.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Is it
You know
any good?
what? Yeah, I've caught it. I've seen the first couple seasons. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's your typical show. I mean, Miz does Miz, and his wife is his wife, and his dad's probably the character of the show. I love his dad.
Yeah, he's cool.
Uh,
I'm gonna check
his
that out.
his dad's hilarious. I don't know if he's pretending or if he's actually the way he is on that, but it's fun. It's a pretty
You
cool
know what else?
show.
A really good wrestling show that I liked, Legends House. You ever check that out?
Legends House was really fun too. It was kind of insightful. It was probably one of the first things that WWE did, right? For the network.
Hmm.
If you think about it, I mean, it's unfortunate because I'm glad they were able to get some of those characters on when they did. I mean, if you think about it, there's no Piper anymore.
Mean Gene.
Mean Gene's not with us anymore. Um,
Hacksaw was on there, right?
Hacksaw was on there as well.
All right.
Tony Atlas was on there. Hillbilly Jim, I believe, was on there.
Hillbilly Jimmy. He was funny.
Hillbilly Jim, Roddy Piper.
Piper.
So Piper was on there. Mean Gene was on there, but he was the host. Pat Patterson was on there. Um, that's three so far that have passed away since that show came out.
Yeah, and I enjoyed Hogan Knows Best too. That was a good show.
Yeah. I think that kind of hurt his career.
His kid screwed him, man. That car accident and then Brooke with the singing. He could put a lot of money into that, man.
He did, man.
Think about it though, like I was telling you before. When we say you see Nick Hogan, what do you say? You don't say that's Nick Hogan. You say that's Hulk's kid.
Yeah.
Imagine growing up like that. Your dad's the most recognizable wrestler of all time, and everybody says that's Hulk's kid. And everybody say, "Hey, Nick, like, do you even know what Nick does? Like, what does he even do?"
Yeah. I
just
don't
see
know
him
what
in
he
the car.
does.
I see him in the garage with his dad. Look at my dad's cars; they're so clean. Like, I don't even know what he does for a job or anything.
I think a lot of those kids do nothing except try to, gain their popularity with social media and everything. Speaking of which, how much of a role do you think social media plays with all these wrestlers now, man? Do you think they're wasting more time on their phones than they do in working on their craft? And I think this goes across the board for boxing as well. Like I almost feel that boxers and wrestlers are more concerned about the social media platforms and everything than they are concerned with their in ring work.
I think you're onto something with that. Yeah, they want to see how many likes they get, how many views they get, start smack talking somebody. So it plays a huge role. I mean, they spend a lot of time on their phones, laptops, whatever, smack talking, watching videos they shouldn't be watching, definitely.
But
Definitely.
I almost feel like it's taken away from their skill set. It's kind of like, oh, well, people's perceptions. But you know what? I think the best way to get, especially in wrestling and boxing, is proving yourself in the ring.
Absolutely.
Right? I get it. We're
And they read the
scripted.
comments too. Like they read the comments. They say, "Oh, we don't read our fans' comments." A lot of them scroll down there for hours. Oh, this guy called me this. This person said that. They check their comments. Not everyone, but they check a lot of them.
But how much of their skill set are they throwing away by wasting so much time on that? Like I get it, you want to get out there and put your name out there, but at the end of the day, if you don't perform in the ring, what good is your social media?
It's worth zero at that point.
Right? Like I think just perfect your craft, prove
Yeah.
something. Right? I mean, I think guys that have worked hard and really perfected their craft and are able to go into the ring and you already know you're going to get a great match. I'm talking pro wrestling,
Yeah.
But it almost feels like they're dictated by public perception.
Especially in the wrestling world, dude, a lot of these internet fans, they control the show to a certain point, control the character while they're crying and complaining and they don't like this, they don't like that. And the producers, they read this stuff,
No, it's true. It's true. And we were talking about this off air one day. AEW is a prime example of this. I'm not shitting on AEW here at all, but their product is purely based on the internet wrestling community, in my opinion. I mean, if
Absolutely.
there's one promotion out there that listens to them and tries to cater to them as best as they can, it's AEW.
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, this is just me, I don't think they'll ever get as big as the WWE
No.
because of that business model that they're subscribing to,
Mhm. I
right?
totally agree with you on that.
The WWE does not listen. Like, if there's one company who doesn't read the comments, maybe they do, but they just don't give a shit,
Mhm.
is WWE. Hands down.
Yeah.
Think about it. How many times, have you seen stuff and you thought, okay, they should be listening to the fans, but they don't, because they know that they're catering to more of a global scene, a global market.
And that's a good point. A lot of North American fans don't understand that. What you just said there. WWE is a global brand. AEW is just North America. They're not global at all. Not
Like,
yet. Maybe one day, but not right
no,
now.
they're getting there. I mean, they're still in their infancy, right? I mean,
Yeah, they're
for
still in
what
the
they've accomplished in 2, 3 years now that they've been in existence, phenomenal.
Yep.
Absolutely phenomenal. They've done more. They provided more of a challenge than any other promotion that's tried to come up since
WCW.
WCW, right? TNA failed miserably. I
They
mean,
were good
there's
for a little bit there, but yeah.
yeah, but again, it just they couldn't get it,
They didn't
right?
have the money behind them. They didn't have They didn't have Tony Khan's dad pumping money in either, right?
Well, I mean, I think Tony Khan's dad has some bigger issues.
My
He's got
question for you is this, and I keep saying this to all the AEW fans. They got some talent there, but what stars, they've been around, what, 3 years? 2 years?
yeah,
3?
yeah.
What stars have they created? Because I can't name one that they've created. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe they have, but I can't think of one. All the guys that we talk about are CM Punk, all old guys, Jericho, everybody over their 40s. They created one star yet?
I'm trying to think, bro. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
no, I know. I'm just trying to, I can't think.
Well, they got that Monster Factory. So I mean, when Cody was there, a lot of the guys that they were training, that Cody had set up, were a part of that kind of that group,
I
uh,
guess
the
you would
night,
count
the
MJF maybe.
Nightmare Family, like Dante Marsh, guys like that. But those are the guys that they've created.
Mhm.
Um, you know, uh, the names that are in that company are all indie guys that kind of came on that didn't really like. Okay, granted, I knew who I'd like. If you're a wrestling fan, you know who most of these guys were from the indies.
Mhm.
If you're the casual fan, the guy who's just getting on the AEW train, so to speak, um, no, they really haven't. Like, whatever they've created hasn't really stuck yet,
That's the
or it
thing.
hasn't grown. Um,
What does that remind you of? That reminds me of WCW.
it
WCW
reminds
created a couple stars, but not many.
well, I mean, Goldberg, I guess, is the one name that comes out of that group
Thing.
entirely. Buff Bagwell, maybe.
Yeah,
But
a
again,
few.
it didn't translate for him in
I guess if
WWE.
you count MJF, is he a star? Like, he's good, but is he a star?
Um,
I love the guy, but I mean,
I think right now, MJF is probably the biggest name in professional wrestling that Vince didn't create,
yeah. So
hands
like, if
down.
we're scratching our heads, we're digging, we're like, oh, who could be a star? So AEW, they got to start creating some of their own talent. I know it's nice to have the Punks and Jerichos, but they got to start building up.
Yeah, but that's the
It might
problem
take
when
time,
you keep
but
signing everybody, right?
yeah,
Um, but you start to see some of the cracks now a little bit, right? Like the fine
yeah,
cracks are starting to emerge. You have an oversaturated roster. You
yes.
have too many people and not enough time for everyone. The storylines are okay per se. I'm not, the wrestling's amazing.
Yeah, they got
I,
some good
I'll
talent there.
say this. I'll say this. I think the wrestling is better in AEW than WWE overall in general. In terms of the in ring, the actual guys can
Yeah,
fight competing.
it's
That's all I'm saying.
more of an indie style. It's more like you're
It's an
watching
indie
indie
style. It's
style.
exciting. It's exciting. It's fun to watch because they have a little bit more leeway with their own characters in AEW.
Mhm.
That's a fact. They're able to do a bit more. Like WWE, you can't do this. You can't do that. Like they have who can get a haircut and who can't get a haircut lists.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's very controlled in WWE. I'll give this to AEW. It's fun because the guys can actually be themselves.
Yeah.
I think AEW is great for anyone who wants to go to the Fed,
Oh yeah, it's a great training ground. Yeah.
right? So from that
I give
perspective,
AEW one thing, and I've always said they got better commentating than WWE. I'm not a big fan of WWE's commentators at all.
yeah,
Don't care
fair
for
enough.
them.
No, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, no, overall, like I said, not knocking AEW. I don't want anyone
We're
to
not
think that.
knocking it. We're just saying how they got to start
Eh,
making some stars, right?
people listen to this without listening to it will knock us
Oh
for
yeah,
saying that, right?
these guys are AEW haters. These guys are
Well, that's
clowns.
it. Like you look at their groups on the Facebook and whatnot, like they're ready to complain. You know what they sound like? They sound like vegetarian and vegans to me.
They probably are mostly vegetarians and
Right?
vegans.
Like again, man, I'm getting my ass kicked here today. Nothing against vegetarians and vegans. My whole family is vegetarian, and you know what? A quarter of them are now becoming vegans as well, and all the power
What's
to
the
them.
difference between a vegetarian and vegan for those who are listening that don't know?
So a vegetarian is someone who basically eats vegetables, but they'll have dairy, including cheese, milk, and stuff like that in their diets.
Okay.
Once, and you know what? They'll unless they're like super ass strict, they'll turn a blind eye to cake and stuff like that that has eggs in them and whatnot,
Okay.
right? They don't go out of their way to eat eggs or meat or fish or anything like that.
Okay.
But if there's eggs in a cake or something, they're not, too concerned. Now,
Gotcha.
vegans, on the other hand, um, will not touch anything dairy. So
Okay.
no dairy products whatsoever, nothing
Okay.
animal,
Okay.
right? But I know vegans who wear leather shoes and leather belts. So I don't.
The thing
But I,
about vegans is they always got to tell you, I'm a vegan. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. But you always want to
no,
tell you know what I
yeah,
mean?
because
Or I'm an atheist. I'm a
yeah,
vegan atheist. Well, who
yeah,
cares?
no, they
Do what
all
you
want
want.
to promote their shit. See, this is what bothers me about them. And you know what? This is my family does this to me all the time. Because I grew up in a vegetarian family, literally grew up as a kid. And until I found a job and was able to go to McDonald's and buy myself a cheeseburger whenever I needed it, I basically grew up a vegetarian for most of my life. I'm still probably, you know, I still have a pretty heavy vegetarian diet because of my family now, even, right? Like, uh, thank God Aria loves meat. That helps me.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Take the kid
but
out.
yeah, but what my biggest pet peeve with that group is that, and I'm not saying it's all of them, it's just my own experience.
Mhm.
I find vegetarians and vegans will be the first to tell you, oh, eating meat is bad. Oh, look at that. Like, oh, poor animal. And when you're sitting there with it on your plate and they're shooting these comments at you,
Mhm.
their commentary is too much. Oh, poor animal. Like my mom will sit there and go, oh, poor animal, didn't get a chance to live. I go, it was bred for consumption.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? If you look at the meat that we eat, it's grown on a farm like your fucking carrots and corn is,
For
and
consumption.
for consumption. They don't breed all, 1,000 sheep at a time to let them run wild,
Yeah. They're
right?
bred, raise them up, eat them, kill them.
And that's pretty much it. And and it sounds, it sounds kind of harsh the way I'm putting it,
Yeah.
but it's a piss off when you're trying to enjoy your meal and you have people, kind of looking over your shoulder, or you're doing this or
Like you're the
whatnot.
bad guy,
And
yeah.
then, and the worst is when you go to a restaurant with them and you sit down and they'll complain off their fucking wall, like, oh, there's not really many options here for us. Oh, what are we supposed to eat? Great. I've gone to vegan and vegetarian restaurants as well with them, with my family, with friends, to support and be honest. I'll be honest, man. I'm sitting there. I don't sit there and go, oh, poor broccoli. Look at that broccoli. You didn't get a chance to bloom fully. But it's funny how they want their voices heard,
Yes.
but you can't say nothing back.
You summed it up perfectly and beautifully, my man. Absolutely. That's what they do.
Right? They don't stop.
No. If you want to be vegan and vegetarian, I'm totally cool to do what you want, but you don't gotta preach to everybody about it. I'm talking
well
about
that
more the millennials that do that.
well that's the thing. It's like, okay, you have a greater chance of finding vegetarians and vegans with protest signs circling around, outside of a steakhouse saying meat is murder, blah blah blah, this is this. You tell me how many of us meat eaters
Yes.
go to the fucking vegetarian vegan restaurant saying, plants deserve to live. Plants,
They got vegans, those millennial vegans, they got a lot of time on their hands. I don't know. They're not at work, I guess. They have time to protest all day, I guess. I'm not sure what
we live in a different time now where this generation feels that as soon as they go to look for a job, every job should be about $30 an hour. They should automatically get 6 weeks of vacation, and they're not going to start for the first 3 weeks because they have some retreat to go to.
They don't want to wait the 3 to 6 months for benefits. They got to go get their teeth done right away, you know?
Well, you know how it is, brother. Hey.
Mhm.
But hey, let's
Funny.
get back to wrestling here. So Raw opens up with a 6-man tag. Riddle and the Street Profits against Usos and Sami Zayn. Pretty solid match back and forth. It really ends quickly here with the Usos walking out on the joke of the WWE. I hate to say it. Sami Zayn now. And
Yeah.
Riddle beats him with an RKO, and that's basically the match. It's a story continuation. Riddle is kind of like a lone wolf right now. It looks like they've kind of written Randy off for a little while, citing his back and whatnot is injured. I don't know if that's storyline or not, but just a way to get
Feel
him
bad
off.
because they're a heck of a good tag team together. They're money together. So
Oh, they're fun. It's a lot. It's a lot of fun. Riddle vowing to get revenge on the bloodline by himself. So this is kind of planting the seeds for that Money in the Bank match now, right?
yeah,
So it looks like Riddle's going to try to do whatever he can to kind of destroy these guys. I like having the Profits in there. I think those are probably the next logical guys to go after the titles.
yeah,
I don't want to see the New Day against them yet. Um, Ultimately, I have a feeling that's where that thing's going to climax, because you're going to get a tag team match here because they keep promoting the Usos as the longest reigning SmackDown champions. Well, you know what? The New Day is the longest reigning tag team champions of all time,
that's true. Yeah.
right? So ultimately, I think it's going to come down to them. But you know what? I like the Profits. I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle. So this might be something really good here as well. Then it comes down to Lashley coming out and he cuts a promo. He's talking about the cage match, and he's talking about MVP and whatnot. That brings out MVP and Omos to the stage. They kind of go back and forth, and he basically Lashley challenges MVP to a match that night, saying the winner of this match can decide the stipulation to Omos's and Omos's and oh shit, who am I thinking of? Bobby Lashley's match coming up. So fast forward to the show, Lashley wins. I don't know what the stipulation is.
Yeah.
Judgment. So this is really interesting. So they show the Judgment Day coming out, and Judgment Day comes out, and they go to commercial break. They come back from commercial break, and they do the whole fucking video package for Bianca and Becky and Asuka. Then they go to a backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Becky Lynch talking. I'm thinking, did I miss the segment with the Judgment Day? No. Then they shoot back to the ring, and they're still in there. So they were out there standing to wait for almost like 10 minutes before
I
they
know.
went on.
Not much.
That was crazy. I didn't, like you had these guys standing in the ring. They just stood there, man. Like I don't know what they do, but anyways, they come out. They basically, they all say their little piece. How Damien's talking about, the sheeple. I love that term.
That's good.
That's a cool term. So he kind of comes out with that sheeple term, and all that's kind of going on. And then Rhea comes out and she says her piece. And then Edge comes on. And he's talking about how he's altered and changed the lives of these two guys, and he starts talking about the new guys that they want. He talks about AJ joining them. He's saying that Finn should be joining them, and they keep teasing different people. Liv should have joined them. Here's what I think is going to happen. Finn didn't come out for the save. I think Finn's going to show up as the demon, and he's going to be the newest member.
That was a cool spin. I never thought of it that way, but I like Finn. He's such a good athlete, such a good talent in the ring. So I like to see them do something with him,
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And you got the radio on in the background, brother?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So that's basically it. So that leads right into the AJ and Liv Morgan against Priest and Ripley. Straightforward match. Everyone stayed safe. Rhea beat up Liv. And then at the end of the match, they beat them both down. And no one came to make the save, which leads me to think that maybe Finn might be the next guy, and he's someone who needs a boost, man.
Big time boost. He's been hanging around a long time, so hopefully they do something with him. He'd be a good fit.
He was a former Universal Champion too, right? I mean, he was the
Yeah.
first Universal Champion. I really feel that they've mishandled Finn Balor a lot, in my opinion. I think that he could have been so much more. He
Maybe
could
it's
have
pissing
been.
them off in the back. Who knows?
I don't think he's pissing anybody off, man. I think the only people that are pissing anyone off in the back right now would be Sasha Banks.
And Naomi, yeah.
Not even Naomi. Here's the thing I've read about all this, man. No one's putting any heat on Naomi. They're all saying it's Sasha, and Sasha manipulated Naomi into doing this and whatnot.
But Naomi's a full-grown woman. She should know better than if something's wrong, it's wrong. She shouldn't have went with it.
Well, the reality is she has the greatest connection to the company right now in terms of the bloodline.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I found interesting. You had them as the women's tag teams champion. I'm surprised they didn't include her into the bloodline with that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, then the bloodline would have the women's titles as well. And they'd also have the all the other golds except the two secondary men titles.
Never thought of that, but yeah, that'd be cool. But maybe too much though.
Is it too much though? I'd love to see one faction have it all, man. That'd be fun.
Bloodline's close, man. They're getting close.
There's one more left in NXT too. There's the younger Uso. He's still waiting to come up. He's the Uso brothers' little brother.
Yeah, I seen him. I don't know his name.
And he's bigger. Yeah, I don't want to pretend to know. I see it in my head.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what his name is. But yeah, so that's kind of where it is. Now here's something cool. King's Court. Jerry Lawler came out to do the King's Court segment. And he came out and his guest was Veer Mon.
Yep, seen that.
Now, here's what I loved about this. And we were talking about the global market. And this is where WWE is doing things right. So I don't know if I mentioned this to you on air or we were talking about it privately. WrestleMania did 56 million people in India watched WrestleMania.
That's crazy, dude.
56 million people watched both nights.
That's pretty impressive.
Right? So that's just where this global market piece comes in now. So Veer Mon, they kept pumping him, and he's being laughed at here in North America. But his pull is huge over in India.
Oh yeah.
Now, here's the thing with Veer Mon. So for the listeners who don't know, he was actually, if any of you have seen the movie or not, $1 Million Arm. He was one of those two guys who actually won that contest, came to America with zero English, and basically got drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Great story, man. Great story.
So he was one of those two guys who actually, Rinku was his name. So if you watch the movie, his character, well, his real name is Rinku. He was one of the guys from $1 Million Arm. And I'm not sure if he's the one who stuck with baseball, but I think he went on to Australia and played out there for a while and coached and whatnot. But both these guys were cricket players before.
Okay.
So, so that's why they went out there to find, the next great arm in baseball sort of a deal. And that's kind of where he's from originally. So to hear him actually talk on the mic was kind of cool. His English is amazing.
Yeah, dude, he's an amazing talent. One thing I didn't like about that segment, though, dude, is if you're gonna have Jerry Lawler in the ring, making fun of him, calling him Harry and all that stuff, your Mahan's got to hit him, but you can't. So here's a funny story. Well, you know this, but a lot of people don't know this. Jerry Lawler is not allowed to take a bump in WWE because of his health condition. However, he still wrestles on the indie scene.
Yeah.
So what I didn't like about that segment was if you're gonna have Jerry make fun of him and stuff, I like to see Mahan smack him around and throw him around, but he couldn't because Jerry Lawler is not allowed to take a bump in WWE. So I think that took away from the segment. One other thing I noticed, Veer Mahan is not that big of a guy. Lawler's not very big, and I thought Veer was a lot bigger. When he's standing by Lawler, he didn't look that big.
He's just wide.
Yeah, no, he's a dangerous man, but I thought he'd be like a little bit, I thought he's a little taller and a little bit.
He's about 6'2", 6'3", I think. I mean, Lawler's about the same height as well, right? So
yeah, I think.
But here's the thing. That's the thing, though, right? I mean, that's why Rick is going to be fighting somewhere else. I mean, the other thing the Federation or the WWE does really well now is take care of the talent and not taking chances. I mean,
yeah,
can you blame them for letting Lawler in the ring.
Oh no, I don't blame them for not letting
No, no,
Lawler.
no. But I'm just saying the guy almost died on air,
Yeah, no, I don't blame him. But what
right?
I'm saying is, I would have put somebody else to do that spot instead of Lawler. That way, Veer Mahan could smack him around a bit. Put a commentator in there. Put somebody else out there.
But
Anybody.
who? Yeah, but if you put him on Miz TV, Miz is already tied up. The only other one I could have seen was a KO show, but KO's tied up with Ezekiel
My thing is
or
like, what good does it
Elias.
do to have Veer Mahan in King's Court if Lawler is going to make fun of him like that and try to make him the heel and you can't hit him? It kind of took away from it, I thought.
It was kind of funny. Who was the heel in that segment? Was it Veerman or was it Jerry?
No, man, it's a hard
Because
call, but it
some of
was
those
good.
rules,
Don't get me wrong, it was entertaining. I'm just saying, if you're going to
yeah,
mock
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the monster has to hit you, and then when Veer doesn't hit him, it's kind of like took away from it, I thought, a little bit, but it was
No,
still
no, I completely agree. I hear what you're saying, and I get it
yeah.
completely, right? Um, didn't Lawler fight Ziggler after his heart attack on WWE?
I don't believe so, but I'm not 100% positive
I
on
think
that.
he did. He had one match where he came out and he kind of tangled with Ziggler for a while, but I can't blame the Fed. I
No,
mean,
I don't blame him at all. I wouldn't
you
want him
know,
on heart attack on live TV.
well, that's the thing. You gotta. They're protecting their interest.
Yeah, I don't knock him at all. I'm just saying I would have put maybe
Yeah.
somebody else. If you're gonna do that segment, I probably would have put somebody else up there personally. But
But like I said, anyone else who could have done the segment's already in feuds,
yeah,
right? I think that's why they brought Jerry out. And
what about Corey Graves? He could come out there and interview him in the backstage. Let him smack that guy around.
yeah, Corey's been cleared to wrestle.
Let him smack Corey around a bit. He could take the bump. He's only in his early 40s or whatever
Or
he is.
Brian Saxton.
Yeah, so that's what I would say. Like, hey, we're gonna interview Veer Mahan, the monster, and then he smacks the crap out of him.
But I
I get
think
it. Lawler's more entertaining than those guys. He's more funny, right?
I think also because we're talking global market here, this is going to
Yeah,
be shown on Sony 10 Sports in India.
yeah.
Um, and it's kind of cool because I get all these channels. So it's kind of sometimes if I don't like the feed from the USA network, I'll go check out India's feed. Or I'll go check out,
Yeah,
BT Sports feed sort of a deal, just to
that's
kind of
cool.
see where everyone's at. But who's got the clearest picture? BT Sports, I found.
Do they?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, they're
I'm
good.
telling you, man, get one of those IPTV boxes. They're a lifesaver.
Oh, I'm going to, dude. I got one just around the corner from me here, the buddy who sells them there.
Okay, so rest of Raw, pretty straightforward. Alexa Bliss against Nikki Ash. Alexa wins.
Yeah,
They're kind of slowly still developing her character to what she's supposed to be next. I don't know. I hope they figure it out. I really like her.
I do too. Great talent.
Yeah. And then you got the two Scottish ladies there. I'm not sure where they're going with it. I think by now Nikki should have lost the costume and got serious again, but maybe she's not there yet. Let's see. Let's see where that's going. Show ends with a rematch from last week's main event. So Becky Lynch versus Asuka. If Becky wins, she'll be added to the match at Hell in the Cell, making it a triple threat. Spoiler alert, Becky won. Now we have a triple threat match.
That'd be a good match, though.
No, I think it'll be fun. So here is what I know as we're speaking, the matches that are going to be happening at Hell in the Cell. So triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. It's going to be Bianca versus Asuka versus Becky Lynch now. Omos versus Lashley with some sort of stipulation. I'm not sure what it is. We have Seth versus Cody in Hell in the Cell. So that's going to be your marquee Hell in the Cell match.
Be a good match.
Don't know who Ronda is going to be facing if she's even on the card. Not much out of the SmackDown now. All these matches are basically out of Raw right now. So I guess we have to tune in on Friday to see what matches are going to be on the card from SmackDown. I mean, are any titles outside the women's title going to be defended? I don't know.
So far, no, that's the only thing. We still have 2 weeks to go, so they'll put something together.
Yeah. I would have expected though last week. Like, I mean, Raw seems to be ahead. We got half the card, the Raw card already done.
Yeah.
Right. So does that mean we're going to get a Hell in the Cell from the SmackDown side? Oh, sorry. Another match here. Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens.
That'll be a good match. I
So
like Ezekiel, so he's good.
yeah,
Owen wrestle, so it should be fun.
that should be a fun match. We'll see how that plays out. And then I have a feeling the Mysterios, one half of the Mysterios, probably Dominic against Veerman, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I really don't know where they're gonna go with this. Like, where's the Miz and what's his face?
Cody had a match talking about that.
Cody?
Yeah. No, I'm
Oh yeah.
saying about Miz. What do you mean?
No, well, Miz and Cody had a fight as well on Raw, but then was interrupted by Seth Rollins. So I mean, it's just kind of like they just kind of keep going back and forth with all that,
I hope
right?
after this Cody Seth match, that's the end of that, and they move on to something else.
Well, they have to move on. Like, how much further can you go with it, right? Mustafa Ali, he's kind of in limbo. So either he's going to fight, I think Tyson Theory for the U.S. title, perhaps. Maybe that'll be
You
on the
mean
card.
Austin Theory? You mean
Austin Theory, pardon me.
if he fights Tyson Theory, he's gonna get his head knocked off.
Yeah. Sorry.
I
Austin
know
Theory.
you meant.
So that's kind of where Hell in a Cell kind of looks like. It's a bit of a slow build, but it looks like a solid card so far. I'm just
It'll be
looking
good.
at, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But hey, you know what? What else? Do you have anything on your mind? Is there anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, we're gonna do Chance's top 5 here before you bring this baby home.
All right, well, I guess it's time to kind of get the car started here. So what do you got?
Are you thinking cap on?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Chance's top 5. This is your personal favorite. Doesn't have to be ranked by all, the elites or whatever. We're gonna say your top 5 little men of all time, and I don't mean little people. I mean Rey Mysterio's. The guys that let's just say 6'2" and under.
Oh, okay.
Your personal favorite.
My personal favorite little guys, I guess if we're gonna call it that, I'd have to say Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan definitely is on that list. I'd have to throw in. Would you consider Seth a little guy?
Sure, we can give him that. Give or take.
Seth, Finn Balor, AJ.
We got one more to go. We got 4.
And some of you guys may not know him, but Will Ospreay.
I don't think many people know who that is. Why don't you
Will
give
Ospreay is awesome. He's predominantly he's an English wrestler.
Okay.
He's predominantly based out of Japan. Yeah, he's a mainstay with New Japan. He's going to be on the AEW New Japan cross promotion pay-per-view, so you can catch him there.
It's a good list.
Yeah. If there's one match I'd recommend, it's Ricochet versus Ospreay before Ricochet came to the WWE.
Okay.
A lot of old school wrestling fans were very unflattered by that because they felt they took away from the essence of what real wrestling is, or those takedowns and arm drags and whatnot. But these two guys put on an acrobatic clinic. It was really fun to watch. So I really recommend everybody watching that match, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. What about you, man?
My top 5 quickly because there's a couple of guys that I want some people will obviously know about. For me, top 5 little guys, Ray, Dynamite Kid, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and you didn't count Shawn Michaels as a little guy? I don't know. He did big things.
Well, he was a little guy at the time of the big guy wrestling, right? If you think about it, when he was out there, outside of him and Brett at that time, everybody else was over 6'4", 6'3".
Oh, yeah. The Hulk Hogan era monsters, right?
Right. Sean and Brett both come in at 6 feet. I'm taller than Brett, so unless he shrunk.
Well, 6 feet, they say booking-wise, they're probably 5'10", 5'11".
Perhaps, right? Because I'm 6'1", and when I stood beside Brett, he kind of he was right here.
He's probably 5'11", 6 foot.
Yeah, he was about here. Right? Yeah. That was the top of his head.
Yeah.
So
I met Brett too. He's a nice guy.
Total nice guy. Got to meet him outside the U2 concert in 2017, 2018.
Cool.
Really cool. Yeah, no, that's a good list. You know what? I want Ray on there as well, but I was just trying to break it down to kind of.
You could probably just 10, 15 guys you really want to.
Yeah. But Ray would definitely be on that list. I picked Will only for the fact that match intrigued me so much, and I think he's one guy that I'd love to see in WWE.
Yeah. One day,
but
man.
I don't know. There's a lot of guys who could be there that don't want to go.
I never understood that mentality. That's like,
It's so controlled. That's why.
no, I get it, but that's like saying, Connor McDavid, hey, you can go to the NHL, but no, I don't want to go.
No, I get what you're saying. I think what the big concern is with a lot of the indie guys.
Or that's like a rock and roll band saying, no, I'm not going to sign to the big label. I'll just play the bar on Tuesday night for 200 people instead of playing for 20,000 people. Don't you want more people to see you, to see your craft? Isn't that the goal of all this?
So there's a band out there from the 60s called Love. Okay. Now, Love was in the same situation that you just described, and they turned down the money because they were afraid that the money would lead to them getting stoned all the time and drugs and all the bad shit that follows with it. But unfortunately, they ended up doing all that shit anyways with no money.
Yeah. So, I get it. I'm not saying sell it for the money, but I'm saying like that'd be like Connor McDavid. I don't want to go with NHL.
I think the big problem here is, and we talked about this earlier, Finn Balor, for example, one guy that wasn't used properly, who could have been used and utilized so much better, right? I think a lot of the indie guys, like the Kenny Omegas, the Will Ospreys, that would do really, really well, you would think, in WWE, don't want to come here because of all the control,
I get it.
right? And that's the biggest thing. They're afraid that they'll come here and they'll get lost in the shuffle. Now, what people don't understand is WWE is when you join WWE, yes, it's completely controlled, but everything is taught to you. Like a lot of the guys that are in AEW, and including Kenny Omega, who's considered one of the best wrestlers in the world, top 3 in the world today,
In ring, yeah.
in ring, okay, had no concept per se how television worked.
There you go.
Right. So I think this is where a lot of people fail to realize what WWE does.
Yeah.
It's an
Here's my
entertainment
thing,
company.
like people say, oh, I get lost and shuffle, I get lost and shuffle. If you're that good and you look like a star and you're that damn good, you're not going to get lost in the shuffle because you're going to go to the top why would they not want to put the best of the top? I mean, people get deals and stuff, but if you're that good, you're going to get noticed. I
think people are afraid. I think guys like that who think they're that good are afraid that they get there and they're not that good.
There's that point too. I said, well, best point of the night, man. You nailed it. That's very true. Good point. Good call.
Right. But then you got to keep in mind that WWE is so multifaceted. It's just not in ring a talent that, you got to be good on the mic. You got to know your cues. You got to know which camera to be looking at. There's so many things that they do, right? And a lot of those AEW guys have gotten better at it now. But it took guys like Jericho and Punk. I'll give Punk this. They know how to do TV.
Yep.
Right. They learned from WWE. So they're able, Jericho, those guys, Cody, those are the guys that were teaching the Kenny Omegas, the Young Bucks, things like that, like how to actually do TV.
Yes.
Right. And it's a big difference than a house show. TV is very different. Very different.
Right.
You got to know what camera you're looking at. When you're doing your promo, you're looking straight ahead. But you know what? You get that cue, then you got to turn to the right and look at the camera that's on the ring corner apron and sort of a deal. Like when I've ever gone to a live event, like a TV taping or anything, yeah, I'm watching the stuff in the ring, but I'm also intrigued by where everyone's cues are coming from to understand it better.
Yeah, must be good point. I don't do that myself, but I know you do that. You've been saying
next time you go in Edmonton when you're there for Raw in September, watch it, man. Like I think you'd have more fun watching that aspect of the show than the actual show.
Yeah, I'll have to do that, man. I'm glad you brought that up. We'll check
it's
it
kind
out.
of like it's kind of like when you go to a soccer game or something or a football match. Yeah, you only see what the screen shows you.
Yes,
what the cameraman's focused on. You don't see the behind the play or the players that are coming from the 18-yard line all the way up forward to play defense or to get into the attack.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, stuff like that's amazing because you don't get to see that play formulate in the back.
Yeah, you're doing that. We went to that Mariners game that time. I remember you checking out the cameras and the setup and the lighting and all that.
It's phenomenal. That's where it's at, man. It's like you get the cues. Like I can tell you when a commercial's coming.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is look down in between the boards at a hockey game, and if you see that red light come on or it blinks 1 or 2, 3 times, oh, commercial break after this whistle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just you find all these little, pieces. But hey, man, we've digressed a lot today. Great conversation, and man, I really had a good time with this. This is a lot of fun. We talked wrestling, and unfortunately, there's not a huge amount of stories coming out this week, so we kind of filled it with everything else. And you know what I forgot to do again? Everyone, thank you for liking and subscribing our show. I know it's near the end and you're probably not listening, but if you are still listening, please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. I think we're hit the magic number of 50. I think you and I should go and celebrate with a beer this weekend.
Stella and Bud Light.
Stella and Bud Light, man. There you go. But yeah, we're working hard here for you guys, and we're
actually gonna buy you. Before we shut this down, I'm gonna buy you one of that Wayne Gretzky beer. It's really good. I think you'll enjoy
definitely. Yeah, definitely. We'll try it out, man. We'll try it out. That being said, guys, thank you so much for all your support and love. It means a lot to us. Keep those comments coming. Got one from Mr. Durgan telling us that our lighting needs to be better. So we have taken that into account, and we're going to do our best to improve that aspect of the show. But we're also improving. We're continuously improving. We're getting better with every take here. It's becoming easier to do now in terms of just getting our thoughts out. I'm really happy with everything that we're doing here, man. So that's all being said, man. Let's get this thing wrapped up because I think puck drop is in a few minutes here for you.
Yeah.
So before we go, what do you think for tonight?
Calgary's going to come out, man, fighting because if they don't want to go down 3-1 to the Oilers, so I don't know, man. I think Oilers take it, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Calgary did either because they got to get this game.
Does this fall on Mike Smith now?
A little bit.
I'm only saying that because I don't really see anyone in front of him. I just see forwards in front of him. I know there's 2 defensemen, but all I see are forwards and a goalie.
I know.
Very reminiscent of the 80s Oilers, man.
Yeah, we got high power offense. Evander Kane's on fire, man. Got a hat trick last time. I guess after that fake vax passport, he's went to a whole other level. So
I don't know. There's a lot on him. His team didn't like him.
No, but he's got a good team now. Like he's got good players around him. So I guess he knows this is his last chance. So he's making the most of it. Credit to him.
Yeah. And then Colorado keeps going. They're on a roll, and
Tampa's on in the next round. Rangers.
I'm surprised people were even doubting Tampa, to be honest, man. You're back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. You can have a subpar regular season.
Yeah.
As long as you get into the dance. And out of all the teams that are there, they're probably the only team who knows what to do to win.
Yep.
Think about it. Every single player on that team, fourth line, first line, Stamkos, they're all blocking shots.
Oh, yeah.
Right? No one's afraid to do the dirty work. And that's why they've gone to the 3rd round now. Vasilevsky's been average for the most part of the season, but he knows when it counts.
Yeah, he turned it up when it counts, like right now.
Right? Like right now, they're the team to beat. I almost feel that Colorado probably won't beat them if they meet up in the final.
Tampa's going to be hungry. They want to get that 3-peat. They want to be that dynasty, right?
So, I'm telling you right now, man, and no disrespect to your Oilers or the Flames or Carolina or the Rangers, it's going to be a Colorado Tampa final.
That's what it's looking like.
I'm going for Colorado.
Just to break up the dynasty?
I'm only going for Colorado, to be fair, because Patrick Waugh played for them.
Fair enough.
And I'm a huge Patrick Waugh fan. If there's, I'm usually a team guy when it comes to team sports, but for me, Patrick Waugh was an idol of mine growing up as a little kid. Watching him with the Habs in '86 win the Stanley Cup and then come back and do it again. It's pretty cool for me.
Yeah, so, I grew up with Gretzky and Messier. Yeah.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, I grew up with those guys as well, but I think Patrick Waugh, being a Habs fan, he was my guy. And when he went to Colorado, I kind of became a Colorado fan, a pseudo Colorado fan, just because of him.
Yeah, him and Ray Bork, man, they brought the cup to Colorado with Sackett.
Well, that's it, right? So they got that, and then I think I've just become a Kadri fan, to be honest.
He's a great player.
Another example of a guy who leaves Toronto and has success.
Good one, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right. So let's wrap it up here. My name is Bobby Sampson, and I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us again and for listening to our show. Thank you for letting us into your ears. Sam, Chance Michaels,
In the words of the great AC/DC, those who download, support, and like and share our podcast, we salute you.
everybody have a great night. We'll be back in a couple of days here with a look at what's happening this weekend in the world of professional boxing. We'll also talk about Canelo and Triple G, which was announced yesterday. We still don't know where that venue is going to be. And we'll also talk about the fight that's 2 weeks from now, the unification fight number 8, Devin Haney against George Kambosos Jr. in Melbourne. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably have that out for you guys by the weekend. But in the words of Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it for Samp&Chance. Everybody, have a great night and stay humble and be safe. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.